Hey, Tulane fans. We're cruising with the coaches. Look who I picked up. Not a coach, but it's David Harris, who runs the whole athletic department. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm going to try and not send us in front of the semi-truck before we start going.
That's a good choice.
A couple months on the job, and I immediately pull us into traffic.
Yes, that was going to be a short-lived trip. Very in front of that truck.
Very short. We're driving a 2025 Mazda CX-70 from Peretti out in Metairie. This is way above how nice of a car as what I'm used to driving here, David. When you sit in the driver's seat of this car, you just have to feel like you're in just command of everything.
It's an incredibly nice car, and maybe after we finish, I'll take it for a spin.
Yeah, we got to bring it back from what I've been told, but we'll see if we'll ever do that.
We'll bring it back eventually.
Well, eventually. They didn't give us a time frame as to when they need it back.
That's just what I was saying.
So let's go cruising with the coaches. You are the athletic director.
Right, I'm not a coach.
You're not a coach.
Not even close.
If you did coach a sport, what would it be? You played football.
And so it would definitely be football. Although I would say in high school, I did track and field.
Ooh.
So I would probably coach shot put and the distance.
Okay.
Those were my events.
Now, what position football coach would you think you'd thrive at the most?
You know, I'd have to go back to when I played. I was a defensive tackle, so I would either want to coach the interior defensive line or the ends, guys that are up there trying to stop the run or trying to get after the quarterback. So that's where I'd want to live.
Have you had a sit down with like our defensive line yet, just to kind of go over their skill set and their schemes and how they go about things?
You know, I haven't. I will probably pop out to practice several times during camp, during the year, during the season, and whenever I go, that's the position. And I always want to look and see how we're doing, watching during pass rush exercises and just kind of seeing how we're getting after the quarterback. But I don't think they need me to give them any advice. I think they'll be just fine, and now we'll just resort to being a spectator.
What first got you into sports?
Good question. So I would say sports is one of two ways that I really ended up spending time with my dad when I was growing up. The first way was fishing. He loved to fish, and so we would actually come here quite a bit to go fishing in different locations, and we fished in the areas in and around Baton Rouge. But then my dad was also a football and track coach. And so I got into sports because in many cases I was going to his games and his track meets, and I was sitting in the stands, and I was going on the field, and I was going into the locker room, and just being with him. I started playing sports. I don't know, I was maybe 7 or 8 years old. My first sport was actually soccer, and then I went from soccer to football and to some other sports. So I think growing up, the son of a football and track coach, and being with him through a lot of pretty cool things. You know, he was really successful, and so having a chance to be able to go and see some of that stuff really just got sports in my blood from the very beginning.
What has been your favorite part of being back in this town?
Wow. So honestly, I love being back close to family. So we have family here in the city and family in Baton Rouge as well. And so people have heard me say I've never lived in a place since I left high school where I had family close by, where I could get on the road and in an hour and a half be at my dad's place and see my sisters and see other relatives. And so being back here, New Orleans is a great city. There's a lot to do and a lot of great food, a lot of great music, and all the amenities that you would expect in a city like this. But my favorite part so far is I've been in the Midwest for the past 22 years. And so, you know, trying to drive to see my family was a 17-hour drive. And now it's a 90-minute drive. And so just being back in a place where you're surrounded by family, it just gives you a chance to have that extra boost, that extra charge, that as you're going into your work day, you have that extra little energy, knowing that, you know, many times you may have spent the weekend with your family, or you've gone out to dinner, or you've been a part of some occasion, or you're going to a birthday party or whatever it is, all of those family interactions that you missed out on for 2 decades, you now have a chance to be a part of that. And so, at least early on, I'm really enjoying it. So we met. Now, I don't have a chance to do it as much as I would like because I'm busy with the job, and my family was actually making fun of me, saying, okay, you moved from Iowa to New Orleans and we still don't see you. And I said, well, it's just the nature of the job. Over time, hopefully that will be better. But even on the occasions where I've had a chance to go there and see them, or they've come up or come down and spend time with me, it's just been phenomenal being able to do that.
What is your go-to hobby when you're outside of work or not entertaining Tulane fans, alums, and donors? What are you doing?
Yeah, so it's not a hobby, but I'm usually in the spot where I'm spending time with my kids, specifically my son. My daughter is now a college graduate, so I don't know that she wants to spend too much time on that. But my son is 13 and he plays sports, and so usually I try to dedicate my time to spending with him, taking him different places. He loves to come to different sporting events. He wants me to take him out so he can work on his game with basketball, football, baseball, whatever. And so I try to pour into him the way that I feel like my dad poured into me when I was at that age. So I don't know that I have any true hobbies that I do on a regular basis. I like to bowl, I like to fish, like to read, I like to travel, like going to sporting events, like watching sports on TV. But if I get some free time, I'm usually trying to invest it in him.
When did you know that your calling, where you wanted to be, was in sports administration?
Yeah, so when I was at Ole Miss, I should back up. When I was working on my MBA, I knew that I wanted to make a career in sports, but I thought it would be at the professional level. I envisioned myself working for the NFL at some point. So I got my MBA and I started working on campus at Ole Miss, working in the admissions office and then in the registrar's office. And when I was working at the registrar's office, a gentleman named David Wells approached me about working in the academic support program of athletics. And so I went for that job and got it. And I did it for about 2.5 years or so. And then this program was started by the NCAA called the Leadership Institute. And it was meant to help train men of color to be prepared to be athletics directors. And at that point, I wasn't sure I wanted to be an AD. I thought about it, wasn't convinced that that's the direction that I wanted to go. But I was interested enough that I wanted to become a part of the program. And so they had never done it before. It was the first class that they had ever done it with, and they've done it every year since then. So it's been in place for over 20 years, but this was back in 2001, 2002. And so I applied for it, and I was fortunate to be one of the 20 people who were chosen for that inaugural class. And so I went through that. It was about a 14-month time period where on 5 different occasions we went to Indianapolis, to the NCAA national office to be trained on different aspects of being an AD. So dealing with the media, fundraising, leadership, dealing with your budget, all of these different aspects.
Driving around town with the radio guy.
Absolutely. This was, this is definitely a part of it.
This was junior year.
Yeah. And so when I finished that in the summer of 2002, I knew this was what I wanted to do. After having a chance to be around those guys and be around those ADs and others who helped train us and help us through those situations, I just felt that I love being at the college level. I love being around student athletes at this age range where you feel like you can still make an impact on their lives. And I very much wanted to make a career out of doing this, and so that got me started.
Well, there's a reason why, is it's called Crusin with the coaches. Like, even though you're not technically a coach.
So I can maybe get to be an honorary coach.
You're an honorary coach.
This. Okay, there we go.
This was an audition. This was an interview process for you to become a coach here at Tulane.
Well, we'll see. Once the coaches at Tulane watch this, maybe they can evaluate whether or not they think I have any potential.
Yeah, I'll call up Coach Summerall, Coach Myers. You mentioned them earlier, their sports earlier. See if they got an opening for you, a little entry-level position.
Absolutely. So we'll see if they're stupid enough to give me that opportunity.
Well, I'm dropping you off here at work, Mr. Harris. So thanks for taking a little bit of time out of your day. And glad I could bring you over to the Wilson Center here to continue your awesome work here at Tulane.
I appreciate it. It was my pleasure. Thank you for having me on. It's been enjoyable, and now I guess I got to get back to work.